You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers and their quest for Gamecast stardom.
AKA worthlessly lazy, but so game crazy.
This is episode 96, and I am Church of the Game Grinder, and as always, joined by my excellent co-host, Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well.
Finally warming up in our neck of the woods.
Warming up, and the weather's nice, and everybody's acting like our global pandemic just went away because the weather's nice.
Isn't that what happened? Weather doesn't get nice when it's not nice, is it?
Right?
I got to have a fire at least.
Yeah, no, it's great that it's nice out. I can start grilling again. I got a new grill. It's like,
what? Start grilling again? You don't grill in the winter?
I don't grill in the winter.
I
mean, you could. It makes it tougher. Lower temperatures.
I'm not. You're the one saying I'm tough. I'm not saying I'm tough. I'm just saying I like bergs. I like letting some snow stand in the way of that.
Plenty of video game stuff.
What?
Plenty of video game stuff.
Yeah, not a lot of news, but a lot of new stuff.
Game pickups, game playing, and
hell yeah, the pickups are more than the playing as usual.
There's some things going on. It's just we're not going to talk about it because we don't got much to say about it.
Yeah,
like Unreal 5 and
yeah, it looks cool. What did you expect? It wasn't going to look like blocky shit.
Yeah, it looks hey, next gen graphics. It looks great.
Yeah,
I was ranting like we should be focusing on making sure every game is at least 60 FPS before we start trying to crank up the graphics more, because
we should, and more than that, we should be worrying about every game being so goddamn fun
and not broken.
Broken mess. Yeah, what looks like. Ooh, that's a pretty broken mess of a game. Yeah, it's like boring shit, but it looks good.
We're at the point where they really need to focus on the back end and less on the pizzazz, because
I'm a man that always focuses on
the back end. Let's get performance.
Yeah. But that being said, I more want to see I don't want like a tech demo. I want a demonstration of actual games coming.
Well, I mean, Unreal tech demos that's a generational thing.
Yeah, because a lot of people use the Unreal Engine, so it's good to know that it's going to be 5 now.
Neat. I mean,
that's all I can say about it. It's more than 4.
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah. That was that. But yeah, like I said, not a whole lot of news to talk about, but there's some olds to talk about, like some old games, like a retro game highlight of sorts.
Yeah, we got plenty of games to talk about, and as per usual, retro game highlight. Last time we had Justin join us for the podcast, and he had talked about Streets of Rage, the series in general, but particularly the first one.
Sweet Sassy Molassie, that's a good ass game.
Yes. And yeah, maybe we'll actually talk about Streets of Rage 4 a little bit this time, since we didn't really.
Oh, now we're allowed the fucking curtain has been lifted. You've played it now. We're allowed to talk about it.
Well, I mean, I was gonna.
What's that called?
Talk about last time we run our mouths too much.
What's that fucking called when they ban talking about anything before they release it?
NDA.
Yeah, something like that.
Sure.
Yeah. So we can get in there.
Absolutely.
Switch it around.
But as far as a retro game highlight, I believe this hasn't been covered on the podcast as a retro game highlight. It might have. I'm sure there's abundance of episodes before I started keeping track of all the documents. So, if we talked about this before, let's talk about it again.
Angry hate comments only.
Yes.
You highlight it again. Give someone else a chance.
So this time it's a game that gets a lot of flack that personally I think is a lot undeserved, and that is Final Fantasy Mystic Quest for the Super Nintendo. A lot of people just rag on this game because it's not, it's not on the level of Final Fantasy 4 or 6 or the others. It's a different take. It's a simpler take on the JRPG formula, a lot more linear in structure, no random battles. It's one of the first, not first, but one of the earlier JRPGs that all the enemies are present on the screen and you run into them and that starts the battle.
Yeah, more of an adventure game approach.
Yeah, it's very simplified, and we've talked about it, and I think Justin's brought it up on the podcast before, is that
it's a good beginner.
And that was the whole purpose of it, is JRPGs weren't doing well in the States, and they thought it was because we were a bunch of dum-dums, which...
Oh, yeah. That's why we can't even handle Mario 2.
Right. It's too hard for us.
It's too spooky.
Weak-willed Gaijin. So they made Mystic Quest to try to introduce more people to the JRPG formula or the basics.
We'll wrap you in bubble wrap and send you on an adventure.
And it's very basic. Sure, gameplay's simple, story's simple, but it's
pretty short.
It's fine. I think it's fine. I think it's fun. It has a killer soundtrack.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable while you're playing, but don't expect in-depth. Yeah, on the scale of the other games. I think that's why maybe if it was named something else, it would be more higher regarded. Like if it was just called Mystic Quest and not a Final Fantasy game, it would probably avoid a lot of that hate. But people are holding it up to other Final Fantasies. Right. I think that's why it gets that hate.
Well, and most any RPG combat systems always kind of have a level of RNG, randomness to the battles, and Mystic Quests is like the RNG of RNG games, where like at any point enemies can be like, oh, I have a petrify spell, boop, your entire party's dead. And it's like, it's kind of fucked up. So its battle system is a little wonky, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So hey, if you haven't played Mystic Quest,
go fuck yourself. I mean, try it out.
I won't go that far. I would definitely recommend
the games you're highlighting. Damn it!
I mean, I would definitely recommend like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy 6 or Final Fantasy 4 or pretty much.
But this game's a lot cheaper than all those. So
that's true.
If you need a decent RPG at a decent low price, check out Mystic Quest.
Yeah,
it probably won't cost lots.
As I say, like you can't go wrong with Squaresoft. You can't. Sorry,
you can't.
Don't bring none of that BS to me because you can't. No going wrong with Square.
Except that PS4 game about being blind.
It's not Squaresoft game.
Oh, I guess it's Square Enix, yeah. So blame the Enix part of that.
Square Enix isn't Squaresoft.
Yeah. My bad.
It is your bad. You should feel bad. Sullying the name of...
Wait. Who waited till this week to beat Streets of Rage 4? Just took his damn time. All right, we're even. Let's get going and have a good time and be good friends.
Sure. Well, I guess speaking of friends and good times, for me anyways, jump into our news topic. Really like one of the only things we got to talk about this time. Not a ton to say, but
let's stick around because it's gonna be fun.
Yes.
All the way through.
Game And that is the announcement of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, which is a remaster of the original Tony Hawk Pro Skaters 1 and 2, all in one package.
Yeah, what's your history with the series?
I have a lot of history with the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. I don't remember how early I'd gotten Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1. I don't know if it was around launch or if it was sometime after. I'm guessing it was probably around the time when the game was launched. I don't know if I got introduced by via demo disc or what. But, I mean, that game came out right in the prime of my teen years. Let's see. I'm just going to try to look this up. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 release date.
That's how old we are, fellas. We got to look up our memories.
99. Okay. So it came out in 99. And at that point, you know, like I said, prime my teen years working. So I had a lot more freedom, pretty much, you know, did what I want, hanging out with friends, doing what, you know, teenagers do. You know, we might have had things to drink and things to smoke and
breaking necks and having sex.
Just, and lots of Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk at my place. Get a group of friends over, passing controls around, you know, beating the levels, getting all the secrets. Then, of course, design the first Tony Hawk didn't have the creative course, did it?
No, 2 brought it in.
Yeah, and then 3 kind of, I think, was probably the better, but that's what I stopped playing at 3. So Tony Hawk 1, Tony Hawk 2, and Tony Hawk 3 we played the crap out of, and that was like...
Did you play it on PS2 or PS1?
PS1, and then PS2 for 3.
Okay, that's what I meant. 3, sorry. Yeah. The first time I played 3 was on my friend's PS2 because he had that and Metal Gear Solid 2 and Grand Theft Auto 3.
Nice.
And we spent the whole weekend, the weekend that he got Tony Hawk 3, just playing the shit out of that. And then I was like, damn, I don't have PS2 yet. And so I rented it on PS1. I was like, wow, half this level's missing. Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Hawk 3 was a little bit later because I didn't have PS2 for a while. And then my friend who got a PS2 at launch, I think it was about a year later or so, or maybe not quite a year, ended up selling me his PS2. And then, yeah, one of the earlier games I picked up was Tony Hawk 3.
Sweet. Yeah,
I think.
I got a PS2 because a buddy of mine, the ribbon cable for the disc tray or something like that, for the laser came loose and he thought it was busted. He's like, hey, do you work on this kind of stuff? And I was like, not really, but I can have a look. And I opened it up and I was like, oh, that's just loose. And then put it in place and kind of secured it. And I was like, I fixed it. He's like, oh shit, I didn't think you'd be able to fix it. So I just bought another one. So I don't have it, I guess. So I got the PS2 for the price of having to buy a controller to use it.
Nice.
Sweet. So you stopped at 3, you said?
Yeah, 3 is when I stopped playing Tony Hawk.
Damn, dude, you missed out.
That's also, I mean, basically that's, you know, now we're early 2000s, and early 2000s is really when I shifted primarily to PC gaming. I was playing PC games, you know, 98, 99, 2000, whatnot. But that's when I really switched over to PC gaming. You know, Counter-Strike, Diablo 2, Neverwinter Nights came out in 2002, and
probably playing a bunch of Solitaire and Minesweeper.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Long past those days. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it was a very specific time for those games. Just like kind of like the culture, I guess, was very more allowed for the perfect storm of Tony Hawk, and like with the music, and it'd be interesting to see how that translate to now. because I'm sure they're going to do quality of life improvements. I haven't done a ton of research into the game, just kind of basically what they're doing. It's
what they're doing to help us feel less old.
Yeah, right.
Did you see that? They have scanned all the original skaters in their current form.
Yep.
And are putting them in the game too.
Yep.
So so it'll either backfire horribly and make us feel really old. We're like, my God, they look like 60-year-olds. There'll be a lot of more roll. I don't remember being able to roll your ankle just getting on the board, but okay. Were you much into like skateboarding stuff? Were you a skater? Or?
I was a poser, big time. Like I tried for a little bit. Like I tried, I failed, and so I just get. It's like the Homer Simpson's quote.
So you just walk around with the board all the time?
No,
you're not standing this thing.
I gave up completely. And then I just wore hookup shirts. I don't know if you remember a hookup brand. Like late 90s, early 2000s.
Like you'd have a one night stand with a girl and then you'd keep her shirt. I just pictured you in a spaghetti strap shirt.
No,
it's like got my hookup shirt.
Hookup's brand was a skate brand, but all the shirts were basically like lewd anime girls. Like a lot of times, like panty showing or like big cleavage and like very suggestive. I get public for wearing them.
Shit.
And it's basically like today I only wear like, band shirts. Like back then I only wore hookup shirts basically.
Okay.
Well, I wore band shirts back then too, but yeah. So I was into the culture. I had friends that were skaters and skateboarders, BMX dudes and whatnot, but I just never wasn't for me. Apparently I'm just too lazy. I just wanted to play the video games about it, didn't want to actually do it.
That's me. I had no interest in learning to skateboarding at all, the culture, any of it. Fine to watch someone who's really good at it do it, I guess. But I never gave a shit about skateboarding at all, which was why it was such a surprise that I loved these games a lot, and I put so much hours into completing every one of them. The last one I really enjoyed was American Wasteland, which was the last good one. I've tried games after that. Well, not any of the ones with the peripheral where you have to stand on the skateboarder and shit, because that was lame too.
Really bad.
Project 8 was the last one I tried, and I was so stoked because I was like, oh, it's a new one on a new system. It's probably going to look so awesome. And I just was frustrated with it immediately. I don't know. Something just really sucked about that game. So it just wasn't on the level of the other games. But I stuck with them through every one of them. 1, 2, 3 I probably put the most into, for probably just because those were the ones I had first. So I didn't have a lot of games at first. But 4, I'd probably say out of all the ones up till American Wasteland is one I've put the least amount of time into. I don't think I ever actually owned it until kind of semi-recently. But 1, 2, 3, Underground 1 and 2. I think our Underground 1 and 2 are my favorite ones. But American Wasteland was cool because it had a seamless transition between all these different areas.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't have to back out and go to another park. And
oh, sure.
That was really cool. And that was a launch game for the 360 when it came out. So I remember playing that the day it came out. And then I didn't have a 360 the day it came out, but I played it at a friend's. And then I was like, oh, cool, it's still on the last gen system. So I played the shit out of it on PS2. So yeah, it was one of those games where I just had to 100% them and unlock all the shit. And then still, if I was playing with a friend, we'd still play for hours. But you think that would have translated to me playing the shit out of the skate games too, but I honestly never really got. Yeah, I played them, but I played them more with my brother, because my brother owned a couple of them, and I own them all, but I never, I think it was the time has passed.
Yeah, for us, it was basically we had the retro kind of like extreme sports games like Skate or Die, and then eventually we got, I'm trying to think of what was on the Super Nintendo for like the extreme sports games. Maybe like Skitchin on the Genesis or something.
California Games is probably the coolest.
There wasn't much
that I like. I wasn't really ever a big fan of TNC.
When I first got my PlayStation, Cool Borders was kind of that game.
Cool Borders is I can see that. I like snowboarding games. They were kind of fun.
And Cool Borders 2, I mean, the first one was okay, but Cool Borders 2, like that was my group of friends, Tony Hawk in #97.
Yeah,
because basically that's what it is. It's
a game that you can pass back and forth, or you can play 2 players.
Yeah.
Playing a lot of 1080 snowboarding on the N64 too.
Yep, we play a little bit of 1080, but mostly it was Cool Borders 2, and then Cool Borders 3 kind of took things a little bit more serious. So we're like, But then
it's fun racing games and stuff. Anything that tries to be more of a sim,
than
it's like an arcadey fun game. That's when they sucks the fun right out of it for me. That's why I can never get into like Gran Turismo and stuff.
I played the first one quite a bit just because it was super unique at the time. But I mean, geez, we played so much Tony Hawk. It's ridiculous. Like our big thing was, especially with Tony Hawk 1, was using Bob Burnquist in the warehouse, and we had the craziest like single trick that we could come up with. It was just nuts. I can't remember what the score was. I was able to finally pull it off, and then we're like, retired.
Well, that's how I got into it. Speaking of, I never mentioned how I got into it. Is I got the demo disc that had the airport hangar on it, and we just played that. It
must have been for us. Now that you might, I totally forgot about the demo disc.
And I played the shit out of that. I don't even know if I had a PlayStation at the time. I might have. I think I ended up getting the first. I think I ended up buying the first one right before 2 came out, like a week or 2 before 2 came out. So it was already like on sale, and then I had 2 also. But I know we'd rented it a bunch, and that's definitely one I prefer on the PlayStation over the N64, because I had them all on N64. But oddly enough, with like how many games I have, I don't have 1 and 2 on the PlayStation. Anytime I find them, they're just really beat up, or
just loose death.
Yeah, so basically how it is for me. I'm like, and I'm not willing to pay a lot because I know there's a lot of copies out there. So
I actually they were games that probably when I transitioned to PlayStation 2 and sold off a bunch of my games, they didn't make the cut. I've since reacquired, I think, all 3, but I think I got one of them loose right now. I can't remember.
But it's weird because as many copies as there are, I actually also don't see them a lot. But then again, I don't see a lot of PS1 games locally anyway. So, and it's nothing I think to like pick up at a convention or a game store, because you're like, I'll find it somewhere cheap.
So I just remembered. So Tony Hawk 3, it was the PlayStation 2 version, because I had gotten the PlayStation 2. I moved out on my own from my parents, and I remember I just didn't care. So I went to like Hollywood Video, which is a rental store here in Minnesota at the time, and I believe I rented that, and I just kept Tony Hawk 3 because I had like the DVD case, just a generic DVD case with the label insert or whatever, and the disc. There was no manual or whatever.
Not even the photocopied ones. Those are the best.
It might have been photocopied. I think that's why I don't have Tony Hawk 3. I'm looking at my list, and because I just haven't replaced it, and that's why I got rid of it. Because it's like, I just have this jank version. I don't really care.
Ooh.
When did because I rented Tony Hawk 3, Lord of the Rings 2 Towers on DVD, and I swear there was one other thing that I rented and I kept because I moved. I had my first place, and then I moved to a different place in a different town. And I was like, oh, I'm moving to a different town. They could be able to track me or anything. I didn't have a credit card or anything. It's super shady.
Or some hentai or some shit.
They didn't have hentai at Hollywood Video. Otherwise, I would have rented it.
Damn, Hollywood Video.
But I think it was 2 games, and I can't remember what the other game was. Whatever. So
maybe Matt Hoffman Pro BMX.
I played that on a demo disc. That one I know. And then there was also
that's when it kind of like jumped the shark.
Was the
Dave Mirra, Matt Hoffman, and was it Sean Palmer?
Well, there's the Sean White or whatever, but there was a different one. Like there was a Neversoft one.
So many, yeah. There's so many of them. They just tried to like get every extreme sport into it.
And we played demos for those like a crap ton too, for the BMX game and the snowboarding game.
Then there's that one we played for the Bad Game Beatdown, the aggressive inline.
Oh yeah.
The rollerblades. Yeah.
Yeah,
there was so many copycat games. That game really like invented a genre.
Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, there's skateboarding games before, but nothing was even close to that. Yeah. Yeah.
Or what else? But yeah, I mean, personally, I'm looking forward to this remaster. I haven't talked to any of my friends really about it. I'm sure it'll come up in conversation like once we can actually hang out and play video games again. But
yeah,
hopefully they're up for kind of re-experiencing this game. And
I really wish they'd remaster the Underground games or something too. I mean, I have this pre-ordered, so I'm obviously
if it does well, I mean, I could see it happening.
I don't know. I also said like I'd almost prefer they just make another game worth playing, since like Pro Skater 5 shit the bed so hard. I think they're putting this out to like regain goodwill, and then maybe they'll try something else. But
all the old fans, and what I think is pretty neat is the guys that I used to play Tony Hawk with. I still those are still the friends that I hang out with today. So Sweet. It's like, come on, guys.
Tony Hawk cements friendships forever.
Yeah, right.
So that's pretty cool. I hope they like you were saying, quality of life improvements. I hope they add a lot of the mechanics that are in the later games. You know, they added so much more like manuals and stuff like that, so it was easier to transform or transfer between tricks.
Yeah. I haven't looked into it a ton. I was like, okay, yep. I was pretty bummed that there was a collector's edition that came with a board deck that had sold out. Like when I didn't even know that was a thing, a collector's edition for it. And
also, you don't fucking need that shit because you're gonna hurt yourself.
It came up again. Best Buy popped up on Best Buy again, so I picked it up. I mean, it's $100 for a collect. Well, I'm sure it's gonna be a separate package, but you get the game and you get a board deck, Birdhouse board deck. You know, Tony Hawk's brand.
You gonna sell it?
No, I'll keep it. I think it's cool. It's like, hey, that's kind of neat. And I can. Yeah. I mean, I said, I was a poser, but I enjoy. Like, I used to watch my friends skateboard, and I watch skateboarding videos. And
I like watching my friends get hurt too. It's fun. so if you put wheels on that thing, I'll come over and watch. But
yeah. So I think it would be kind of neat to have, and it's like I said, it's $100 for a game and a board. I can't imagine that the board deck is.
I'd rather just spend the money on just the game, but
true,
you do you, bro. It's cool.
Exactly. Support my purchasing decisions.
It should, yeah. Well, I am an enabled bro, so I enable my bros. That's what we're around for.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
I was hoping I would come with a statue of my created character from the game, but I guess not. I'm just kidding. I want a statue of Spider-Man from Tony Hawk 2. He's my favorite.
Do that the board whip with the web.
Yeah, and he does that backflip. That was like the greatest move in all of Tony Hawk. He did like this web flip thing. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Called.
Well, hopefully he's in this, and it's gonna be.
I'm chilling it. Fuck that.
But probably won't be because everyone's douches about rights and stuff, which is kind of annoying to some extent.
Yeah, I'll be severely disappointed.
We'll
I'll end up trading it for, random copy of the old ones.
have to like tweet hate at Disney or something.
Yeah, I'll have to put Tony Hawk 2X into my Xbox One and see if it's backwards compatible. Because it has Spider-Man in it still, I'm pretty sure. So that's cool.
Yeah, so I guess that's probably more than anybody ever wanted to hear about Tony Hawk. Unless
I want to hear about everyone's experiences with Tony Hawk. Like, was I the only one who just I hated skateboarding stuff for the most part, but I just loved those games. It's so out of character. It'd be like me being like, oh man, I cannot stand football, but every year when Madden games come out, clear my schedule. Like, I don't know. That's how out of character it feels for me. Like how much I hate. I was never into it at all, but every time those games came out, count me in.
Into it. I was in like this like CKY stuff. Like I still like barely even know anything about that, but like the like Jackass dudes and stuff, like they're all skateboarders, and I watched their shit.
Like I said, like watching cool tricks and watching people fall down and hurt themselves. Beyond that, I didn't care. I didn't care to learn.
I hate seeing bones getting broken. Oh man, that's the worst.
That's where we differ, bro.
Definitely differ. I don't like real world violence and watching that shit. If it's a movie,
I saw your Faces of Death Blu-ray box set.
I've seen Faces of Death, but I didn't like it.
I'm just kidding.
On DVD.
Yeah, Blu-ray. That's why. 4K. 4K.
So I guess we're gonna do an early transition into a community question this episode.
Shit.
So last time we asked what your favorite sword in gaming was, kind of, building off some Final Fantasy VII hype. Buster Sword is pretty legendary, right?
Yeah.
But let's check on the community comments that we did get. Got a couple community comments, so thank you very much for those.
Always love to see some participation.
Absolutely. So first up, we got Black Metal Gamer says Master Sword from Zelda series is a given, but he loves the Moonlight Sword in Kingsfield and Souls games, which is also featured as a sort of an Easter egg. It's basically FromSoft's Magic Sword, and I'd never even really put two and two together that is true. And well, FromSoft games, there's like a Moonlight Sword,
and
that's what I usually used.
Sweet. Well,
then we also got SNES Mapper, who says the Monado sword from Xenoblade Chronicles, best sword ever. And I don't really know the context of that one, but isn't all the Xenoblade swords like
loves the Alyssa Milano sword? It's awesome.
Aren't they like waifus or something? Don't the swords turn into anime chicks or something?
I don't think so.
No, I thought that was what the Xenoblade stuff was all about.
I don't believe so. I don't know. I haven't played a lot of those games, so can't really say for sure, but I don't remember seeing one.
Yeah, I haven't played Xenoblade games, and I really want to. I said, Xenogears, my favorite favorite PS1 JRPG. I have the Xenosaga games, which I've wanted to play for many, many years. I just haven't gotten to them, and the Xenoblade games look sweet. I've heard nothing but great things about them.
Yeah, I've got every single. I got Xenogears, Xenosaga 1 to 3, Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii, on 3DS, what's it called? Xenoblade, whatever on the Wii U. Got
Xenoblade, whatever. That's exactly what it is.
I can't remember what it's called. I don't know. I got the collector's edition of it. I can't remember what it's called. And then I've got Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on Switch and the add-on for it. But
nice.
I am they're intimidatingly long games. So I had a friend who was just so into Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm like 200 hours in. I'm barely into it." You know, like,
well, those are games that have like tons of like side stuff to do, from understanding.
Yeah, I can't even fathom having that amount of time to do anything.
That's for like the old school like JRPG platinumers when platinum didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like it's like getting like the gold chocobo and Knights of the Round and Final Fantasy 7. Like I didn't bother with that stuff. It's just way too much work.
That's what I worry about though, is if I like a game enough, I might be tempted to do that kind of shit. So I'm like, I'm the one that likes to do all the side quests and
do within reason.
Exploring like, oh, this is where I have to go. Okay, well, I'm going the other way to see what's all over here instead. You know, I don't just run through shit just to say I beat it.
Like I don't know if you know the game getting the gold chocobo in Final Fantasy 7. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah. There's always something ridiculous to do in those games.
And the weapons. I won't beat any of the weapons.
Come on.
Too much time. So, yeah, so again, thanks for the comments there. Keep it up.
What you got?
So I had a few ideas. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of swords I really like, but the one that kept jumping out to me was the Atma weapon from Final Fantasy VI.
All right.
Which is a sword that gets progressively powerful the more it's used, the longer it's equipped, and the blade gets bigger too. And I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I always like a unique sword with a different ability.
I mean, if I really like went through my list of games instead of just off the top of my head, I could probably come up with a lot of other ideas. But that was really the big one. I mean, of course, Buster Sword's cool. Of course, Master Sword's cool. Of course, another one that was jumping out to me was the Chrysogrim from Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Mm-hmm.
And the
I thought that was going to be your pick. To be honest,
came to mind. That's for sure. But yeah, I'm going with the Atma weapon.
Okay.
What you got?
I'm kind of going more for just like, I thought of some RPG ones, but I really am a huge fan of War's sword from the first Darksiders game.
Yeah.
It's
another
awesome looking broadsword. I'm also a big fan of Rebellion from Devil May Cry, Dante's main squeeze of a sword.
It just mentioning War Sword for some reason reminded me of Frostmourne from Warcraft.
Yeah, they look kind of similar in ways.
Yeah, that's clear.
I like me a good broadsword. Those big, a sword you could use as a shield because it's so fucking wide. But
yeah,
it's I've always thought it was like the coolest looking sword. It's a pretty metal looking sword.
Yeah.
Those are probably my picks there.
Cool.
And it's one of those things like same with you. If I look through all my games, I could probably. But that's kind of what came to mind when I thought about it.
Yeah, I think that's usually, the ones that come to mind are going to be the ones that you should be shouting out because those are the ones that.
Soul Edge is another it's a cool ass looking sword.
Yep, and
it's got a whole series based around it, so that's.
And I think Justin mentioned the Excalibur.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy, that's in like every Final Fantasy game is like one of the best swords you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot, and I'm sure there's some big ones that we didn't even think of that people might say something. Hey, call us out. What swords didn't we mention that we should?
Oh, you're still allowed to answer the question on the next episode. We won't get mad at you.
Yes, you can get mad at us for excluding your favorite sword.
Yeah, but you can also get mad at us for this week's community question, which is, what's your favorite gun in gaming? Because we're super creative, and on the ball.
And there's lots of cool guns in video games. So
depends.
Let us know what are some of the coolest or your favorite.
Next time we'll ask what's your favorite footwear in a game.
What's your favorite fist?
There's only one fist and is of the North Star.
I was thinking of like trying to connect it to like Streets of Rage or something, but it's like, it's a little try
hardy.
Yeah. Yes.
It's all right. It's okay. We'll just trends for another way.
Yeah.
The rhyming. So, since that's about all we have to say on that topic, what the hell have you been up to, bud?
Oh, I've been playing some games. Knocking out some shorter ones, which is always kind of nice.
You shouldn't pick on short people. It's not very nice.
I don't.
Oh, you just said you were knocking out some shorter ones. That wasn't.
I don't even know what to say to that one.
Backpedaling and saying you were picking on short people.
But as I mentioned last episode, I was really looking forward to the recently released Bloodstained Ritual of the Night DLC. They released Zangatsu as a playable character, as well as the randomizer feature. I didn't bother with the randomizer stuff, but I did do a playthrough of Zangatsu, which is, it's if you've ever played Castlevania Symphony of the Night and you ever played as Richter in Symphony of the Night, it's basically the same thing where you start the game as that character. There's no story. You just go through the castle. You get all the moves at the beginning. You do level up Zangatsu as you play, which is pretty nice. So it kind of makes some of your approach at some of the bosses that you could get to earlier in the game, like you still kind of, unless you're able to get good, you got to wait to fight those bosses until you level up. Some pathways through the castle, you have to wait until you can get around to the other side to unlock doors still. But I had a lot of fun with it. It only took me 5 hours exactly to play through. Okay. Because again, like I said, you don't, there's not all the backtracking, so you can basically kind of just clear
going. You can just go.
Yeah, you can just go. So I basically still played through the game kind of like in the original order, so I could kind of take on the bosses as they were sort of intended.
Okay. So is this something you have to beat the game to use?
Yes. So for anybody who has already beaten Bloodstained, you're going to load up your game and you're going to go to create a new game, and you're going to try to pick Zangatsu, and he's not going to be an option. You're going to be like, what the hell? So I had to look this up. Apparently, if you've already beaten Bloodstained, what you have to do is beat the end boss again to trigger this new thing. So I had to just beat the end boss again, which was interesting because I haven't played Bloodstained in like almost a year. And all of a sudden I got to beat the end boss, which fortunately I had not a Chrysogrim sword, so I was able to just melt the end boss again and then unlock Zangatsu. So that wasn't really a problem for me. Although that is kind of annoying that they can't just have it trigger. Like if it detects that you beat the end boss, then boop, it's unlocked. Yeah. So some people are going to load it up and they're going to be like, what the hell? Which is basically what I did. And so that is the only catch, is you have to beat the game first.
That's not too bad. I've done it.
Yeah, I did it. And I had fun replaying the game. He plays way different from Miriam. As I played through, like, I did make use of a lot of his different moves, but there was a couple that I never used like the entire time. But I definitely say if you enjoyed Bloodstained, it's worth jumping back in. It's a quick playthrough. There's a couple bosses that were a little tough because you can't use items or anything. It's just his straight up abilities. And it can make some of the boss fights a little challenging, but I like a little challenge once in a while.
Yeah, as long as it's not infuriating.
Yeah. Kind of early on it was, before I figured out like, yeah, maybe I'll just level up. And then I went back to the boss and like rolled him hard.
Sweet.
So yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And then I mentioned a couple times, and I'll mention it again, Cartridge Club Game of the Month for May is Undertale. And I absolutely love Undertale. And I replayed Undertale for the upcoming podcast, I guess. Spoilers.
We don't think you can let it out of the bag. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good advertisement.
Yeah, I'll be hosting the Undertale episode of Cartridge Club, much like the Bloodborne episode. So definitely appreciate if people check it out. Club always needs support. Get involved. It's a lot of fun, a lot of cool people. But yeah, replayed Undertale. Had a ton of fun. I kind of wish, like, Undertale is one of those games that I think it's best enjoyed not knowing anything about it, just going into it blind, which is what I did the first time, and it blew me away. Not everybody reacts the same way, but Undertale, like, I didn't know what I was getting into and didn't expect it, and I had an absolute blast. I had a ton of fun replaying it. Again, I couldn't bring myself to do any other playthrough other than the True Pacifist again, which is what I did the first time. And I will share, if you want to hear my full thoughts on Undertale, besides when I talked about it on the podcast before, or the review, I actually did a full video review for Undertale. You can check those out. Otherwise, definitely check out the Cartridge Club episode coming up here in a couple weeks. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else to say on Undertale at this time. Then jumped into Streets of Rage 4, as I didn't realize that .emu had sent me a Steam key for Streets of Rage 4. Like, I saw the press release that I'm assuming people are upset that they ordered from Limited Run, and then all of a sudden Signature Edition announced that they had a version of Streets of Rage 4, and then there's another publisher that has the game on like Amazon. They're not coming out until July, but people are upset that
we'll still get it before Limited Run gets it out.
Yeah, that, and a lot of people thought that, I'm guessing they don't know how the like Limited Run works, and they thought that they'd buy it and they'd get it on launch day. So .emu said, as a consolation to those who ordered the limited edition, which was the classic edition, I'm assuming, or the collector's edition, that they'd send you a Steam key so you could play the game. I was like, oh, hell yeah. I had glanced at my email and I didn't have anything, and I just kind of forgot about it. And then a few days later, I randomly checked my junk mail, and there it was, a CD key for Streets of Rage 4. So played through that. I'm not big on like Streets of Rage. Like, I played them in the past. I don't have the nostalgia like a lot of people, like the Genesis people especially, have for the games, but I thought they were fun. I don't think I've ever played Streets of Rage 3.
Man, I thought you were cool.
I never said I was.
But you were, though. I held you in high regard till about 9 seconds ago.
But I played through Streets of Rage 4, and I absolutely loved it. It's I would say, maybe top 5 beat 'em ups of all time. I had a lot of fun with it. Absolutely love the hand-drawn art style. Like, I was kind of wondering how it would work for this game, and it worked perfectly. Looks so good.
It looked really good. A lot better than how Battletoads is shaping up to be.
Yeah.
But that's for a different time.
Don't remind me.
I absolutely loved it. This is my favorite beat 'em up series. Final Fight can go fuck itself.
Yeah, Final Fight's very basic, honestly.
Except Mighty Final Fight, I think, is my favorite of the Final Fight games. I like that one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of people always like kind of hold them up against each other, and Streets of Rage, I think, blows that series away. There's not very many other beat 'em up series that are more than like maybe 2 games, but this is definitely my favorite with more than one sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been a big fan since I think I had the Genesis 6-pack, pretty close to the beginning of owning a Genesis back in the day. So I've kind of always been a big fan. My friend, I think the first time I ever actually played Streets of Rage though was on Game Gear when my cousin brought it from out of town and let me play it, and I didn't give it back. I just played it until his batteries died. And then he ended up buying a power pack while he was here, since I owed him like 8 AAs, 6 AAs or whatever that thing holds. But yeah, always been a big fan.
Yeah, and this was made by Lizard Cube, who also did the Wonder Boy 3 Dragon's Trap. So I think we can hopefully expect another not remake, because this isn't a remake.
Cool.
Another some series that they're gonna do a new version of with this hand-drawn style, and they do such a great job. It looks so good.
Apparently this has been in development for quite a while, which is, I was surprised. I mean, I know it's been on my radar for a couple of years, but apparently it's been in development a lot longer than that. So
yeah,
hopefully the next one won't take as long.
Yeah, we'll see.
They could keep pumping these out, and I'll keep buying them.
I
ordered the limited run PS4 copy, or as soon as they went up on Amazon, I ordered an Xbox One copy. Because
you played it on Game Pass.
What's that?
Played it on Game Pass.
I redeemed Game Pass just to play it because I have like 3 or 4 things for it. So I was like, oh, I'll check out Game Pass at the same time. But I was all about Streets of Rage, so I checked out what they had. There's really good lineup on there, but yeah, a lot of it I already had physically, but that was to be expected. But there was a lot of pretty cool mix of AAA and indie stuff on there.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in the Cartridge Club that say Game Pass is the best deal in gaming.
Yeah, it really is.
It is. I mean, it's hard to argue that.
Yeah, that's one thing that Xbox really does right, is their online stuff and their Game Pass thing. Like their
ton of games.
Xbox Live Games with Gold kicks PS Plus's ass too. Because even if you let your subscription like lapse, you still own those games. You know, you cut off Xbox Live, you still own all the games. They don't go away like PS Plus. So I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the Streets of Rage, I definitely think if you like if anybody likes beat 'em ups, like you need to play Streets of Rage 4.
I'm looking forward to playing more with the kids. I played a little bit with Saren the one day, and he thought it was awesome too.
Yeah, and you can unlock like other characters from all the other Streets of Rage games. I don't know if you can unlock it like any other levels or anything. I played through it on normal, and then I played through about half of it on hard.
Did you get any of the retro levels?
I got one of the retro levels.
Where you zap the arcade?
Yeah, I fought a boss. But that's the only one I found. I didn't even know it was a thing, and it was actually so I played it on Steam, and fortunately you can do like open invitation. So I just fired it up looking for a second player. Somebody joined up, pretty much played through the entire first run through with one player, and then they left like 2 levels before the end, and then another player joined, and then he helped. Then we played through those last 2 levels, and then played through about half the game again on hard. And it was the second playthrough when I discovered that you could, you go punch the arcade machines and you go to the retro levels. It's like, oh.
You have to zap it with a you zap it with a taser, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty neat.
My whole first playthrough, I didn't really use any of the like power moves.
Oh, really? Health taking or the non-health taken one?
Yeah, the health taken ones that if you land hits, your health comes back.
Yeah.
I played the first level one night just to be like, oh, I gotta play it because I had to go to work. But I was like, I'm playing this shit now. And I played the first level, and then I didn't get to play it till like the next day, almost next night. And then I totally forgot about that part of it. And until I was like, I was on like the last level, and I was like, oh wait, yeah.
Yeah, because so I played as Blaze because of course. And like she had a regular punches, and then I could do like this forward punch, and it was like a powered up punch that and then you get your special that does health damage that you can recharge by punching dudes, and then you got the super attack. And I think just having all of that, like, just give me extra moves. Like, that's what a lot of beat 'em ups are fun, but it's like one or two buttons. It's like, punch and kick, and give me something a little bit more, And Streets of Rage 4, fantastic. So glad I got the collector's edition. Stupid, expensive collector's edition. But yeah, so wrapped up Streets of Rage 4 and then decided that I needed to jump back into Yakuza 0 because the longer I waited, the less likely I was going to return to it. So Yakuza 0 it is. Kind of like riding a bike. Fortunately, like I got right back into the combat system and trucking along, got a few hours in more.
Happy to hear it.
Yeah. So
I don't know what to say once you're finally playing it. I can't just suggest playing Yakuza 0 again. I'm kind of lost, to be honest. I don't know what to tell you to do. Hurry up and beat it so you can play Kiwami. There we go.
Right.
Yeah, no, don't hurry up and beat it. It's like a fine wine. It must be.
I'm trying. Like, I still don't like love the combat system. It's getting better. Like, since I know how to do the stuff. Like, I understand the controls a little bit better.
Okay.
But we'll see. I'm having a lot of fun with the side stories. Like, I was kind of thinking, I'll just kind of focus on the missions.
Oh man, the side stories are so fun.
But it's like every time I head down an alleyway or something, I run into a person, and here's a guy whose girl's sending him out to be her errand boy, and then I'm running into the anti-prostitutes or whatever, and some little kid wants me to win them goddamn arcade claw machine things, and it's like and they're fun because a lot of them are silly, or some of them are like the dad that got a face change, like he went into witness protection and got his face changed, and like you can't go up to his ex-wife and his kid because they give everything away, and it's like, oh, that's kind of sad. Like, it's too bad. You shouldn't have joined the Yakuza.
There's a lot of all over the place.
Yeah.
Feeling some of them are just hilarious and silly. Some of them are real sad. Some of them
are building a relationship, a friendship with the porn shop clerk. Like, what? Is that what this game is presenting as? Porn in Japan in the 1980s, or is that how porn was actually in Japan in the 1980s?
Video girls?
It's nothing.
Watch the movies.
It's just girls in like a two-piece and just looking cute.
Yeah.
And then like it shows like a 30-second clip of this cute girl in a two-piece, and then it cuts away to looking at the tissue box, and he goes, ugh.
Ugh. Oh, I saw an ankle.
So
better than Amish porn, I guess.
I'm not
show that ankle.
Take advantage of what you got, I guess, but it just, that part makes me more curious to like if those shops like back in the day, like did they show like stuff with, I know they blur out things in Japanese porn, but like they don't blur out boobs. It's just like the other bits.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess.
Did you have to go to the call center thing where you like call someone and basically like on the phone date?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Those are pretty funny. That's one of the mini games.
Like somewhere between like 10 and 15 hours in, and from what I understand, it's like
you can plow through that game, but like I said, after a while, I remember I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna plow through this, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was just enjoying the world too much. As much as it's not a huge play area.
No, not at all.
So much stuff to do in it that I got totally engrossed in it. I wanted to at least sample everything there was to do.
Yeah.
I took on side stories again. I think I only missed like 2 of the whole game.
Saved a girl from a cult, a religious cult that the guy was trying to like.
Yeah.
Basically, just trying to like take everybody's money as donations and like bang any like good-looking chick that came into the cult. It's like, what the hell is going on here? But I saved her from his creepy advances.
Yeah,
it's so funny though. Like, and I like one thing I especially like about it is that it is like this is a Japanese culture game. Like, there's so much. You know, a lot of media that we do get to enjoy from Japan, like, isn't as Japanese culture as this game is. Like, this is life. I mean, yeah, you're a Yakuza and it's fictitious, but like they do present a lot of elements of Japanese society that is very different from what we experience in North America or, you know, Western culture, which is very interesting. Can you explain to me what the tissues are about? There's ladies that hand out tissues. Like, you can just keep getting tissue packs.
I don't like it either. I don't understand. I always grabbed them, but I never knew what they were for.
Okay. So it's not just me. All right. I haven't looked it up or
anything.
You're
probably on the way to the shop again, that old pervert.
probably. Yeah, they're just keeping me stocked up. Yeah, but enough of what I have been up to playing. What have you been playing?
Oh, quite a lot. No, not really. Since the last episode, I've been playing a lot of Predator Hunting Ground, which is my online game fix for the foreseeable future. We've gotten our buddy Chris to play with me quite a few times. I've actually lent one of my extra PS4s to my brother and bought him a copy. So, because if not, he probably would have figured out a way to buy himself a PS4 and a copy. And he's been helping me out a lot. So I figured I should be a good big brother and hook him up so we can play. Now we have 3 of the 5 people needed to do like a nice group where we can play together. So do some crossplay or what, bud? Just throwing it out there. Or anybody else who wants to play with us. It's a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of people shitting on it, but honestly, I'm right into it. I've been loving it. It's very few small, things could be more, but they're adding more to it. A lot like their previous game, Friday the 13th. There was going to be DLC add-ons, different game types, and most importantly, Dutch is back, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is actually voicing him, reprising his role as Dutch, and it's going to be an actually like current day version of him. So it's going to be
new dialogue, not just recycled from the movie.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So it's kind of like a progression of his character. So he's going to come in as like a Predator expert, which I don't know why they never did this in any of the movies. Even for like a cameo, be like, I was there, I know what I'm doing, kind of thing. Really, just like he could be like what's his name, Q from the James Bond movies. You're gonna take this and you're gonna wear it. Just a bunch of mud.
Yeah,
backpack with mud in it. So I'm looking forward to that. That's actually coming out on the 26th. So can't wait for that.
Sweet.
Some more. They haven't really done a real roadmap, but they have said about once a month there's going to be updates and DLC add-ons. So
yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how they actually support this game. If this was how much of the publisher falls in, because Friday the 13th, I absolutely loved Friday the 13th. Like I talked about it all the time on the podcast. I put like 300 hours into it, but it was a shit show. Like it was issues all the time, but that was Gun Media, and now they're I believe this isn't Gun Media. Ilphonics, the developer,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who the publisher. Oh, publisher is Sony.
Yeah, well, hopefully no
Sony Interactive.
Hopefully no lawsuits prevent more Predator things from being made, because that would suck.
Yeah, basically. Well, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, it killed the Friday the 13th." Well, it actually didn't. They had completed most of the roadmap, which were all promised stretch goals from the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
the only thing that was missing was Jason X. So that was the only thing that we ended up not getting for Friday the 13th. But we got everything else that they promised.
Mm-hmm. Well, they could have maybe kept going and like on their own and just done more like paid DLC and stuff.
It just didn't to get the community. Like at first, it was pretty good, but I think it was just their slow how slow the updates and the bug fixes were, and then the like slow trickle of new content and stuff, like really just kind of killed it. Like they really screwed it up, and I don't know if that's to blame on the developer or the publisher. So I hope this goes a lot better, and I do want to check it out. And that's kind of maybe partly why I'm slightly delayed. Although I would like to play it on PC, but it's an Epic Game Store exclusive, and I'm...
Oh, you total pussy. Then just get it on PS4.
Online. And then I got to pay for PS Plus to be able to play a game online where I can play it on my PC. Play it with my ass.
Well, then man up about the Epic Store and get your free copy of GTA 5 while you're at it.
That I'm just gonna say one thing real quick. I don't really want to get into it too much, but GTA 5 is a 7-year-old game. How many people own this game already? It's like one of the number one selling games ever made, and then people are like, "Oh wow, look at Epic! Oh, they're so cool. They're giving you." Everybody already owns it. I have multiple copies. I have it on PS3. I have it on PC. Like my friends all have it on like PS3, PS4. It's like we already have this game.
I have it on everything. I have it on PS4, Xbox One, 360.
Like, well, it's a free game regardless. It's like
I only ever bought it on Xbox 360.
Go to hell, Epic, and your fucking Chinese front for data harvesting, a bunch of bullshit, and
just play Predator for fuck's sakes. Use your excuses.
Third-party exclusivity is bullshit, and it pisses me off. And the only reason they can get away with it is because they can throw a bunch of money. And people are like, "Well, competition." It's not competition when we got tons of other PC services besides Steam. Epic Games can lick my sack.
You don't have to like them. You just have to play Predator any way you can. So I'm saying you don't have to do all that stuff if you just
get on PS4. I know.
Yeah, you gotta pay the little don't like Epic tax and get some PS Plus. But you can play any other game online you want to, as long as I'm offline and not playing Predator.
That's true. That's true.
Don't you like your friends, bud?
I do.
All right. So, wait, hold on. I'm listening real close. Hey, I don't hear no mouse clicking to Amazon. What's up with that? Anyway, besides Predator, long tangent on that shit.
Sorry.
I also beat Undertale.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm also on the podcast.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it then. Because I don't wanna. And just today, I finally completed a game I started around the same time as Undertale, actually. And that was Aces of the Luftwaffe Squadron, which was a really fun and unique shmup. and not one you can just plow through in like 45 minutes to an hour like a lot of them. It was actually like a mission-based game where you can swap out planes. You control all 4 planes in the squadron at once. Unless you're doing co-op, I guess you can pick a plane or whatever. But it makes it a bit tough at times, but they all have their own unique abilities, and there's a skill tree for each one. It's a lot of cool stuff and depth to this game. You get like, I think it's 5 lives a level, and for the most part, that's way more than enough. But some of the bosses are really challenging, but it's all really, really creative and a lot of fun. For shmup, it gave me a lot more than I expected when I started playing it. So I ended up actually ordering a physical copy. It was just on my Xbox, so either my friend bought it or it was one of the free games one of the months. And yeah, I just kind of popped it on while I was waiting for something to install on the PS4, and then I just turned the PS4 off and ended up playing this. It's also got like a separate campaign. Honestly, it looks like a cheap game. It looks like a phone game or like a flash game, the way like the characters look and everything. But I'm glad I just looked past that and just like started playing it, because I would have missed out on a really good game. A lot of fun. I definitely recommend it if you're a fan of shmups, and it kind of bums you out that you can usually plow through them in like an hour. So yeah, it's really cheap for the physical copy too. I think I paid like 11 or 12 bucks. So yeah, check it out if you feel like it. If you don't, whatever. But yeah, that's about all I've been playing lately. That and Legend of Dragoon. Still trucking along on that a little bit when I can.
Yeah, how do you know how many hours you got into that?
No. Just when I can play it, I play it. Seems like I'm working more during this quarantine than before, so it's a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, actually, I talked to a local. There's a local pizza place that I go to for lunch that do pizza by the slice, and he said, yeah, since all this has gone down with people not being able to go out to restaurants, they're ordering like way more pizza. And he's like, at first it was his business, it was killing his business like big time, because like nobody was going out or like having contact with people. But then he's like, all of a sudden it changed, and like we can't keep up. He said like one dinner he got 86 orders like almost at once.
Yeah, it's pretty much with Domino's here too. For a while it was just like it slowed down because people are all like, I don't want anything coming near me, you know. Everyone was like over freaking out. But now it's back I would say back to normal, because then after it was being slow for a few, like 2 weeks, I'd say, it was back to like ridiculous, really, like it overcompensated, so it was ridiculous, and now it's back to like normal, nice and steady and busy. So there's that. But I mean, my other job, I seem to be working more, or with everyone being home, I've got more to do. That sucks, but I guess still game when I can. Just a lot more exhausted, it seems. Bummer. What you got going on in the next one?
Well, let's look at what games we got coming out in the next couple weeks.
Shit, I just got like
there's a few
25 today, I think it was. We did
gotta step it up.
I got a bunch of my Amazon orders, and also our friend John from the Game Deflators got a ridiculously epic pickup or series of pickups from the same guy.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, show me what you got for double, and maybe we can work something out. And we did. And I finally got that package today with my other stuff. So that was awesome.
Yeah, it's some good stuff.
A lot of cool stuff. It put me over 500 PS2 games now, so that's cool.
God damn.
It was it was really cool. Look forward.
We posted pictures on Facebook and Twitter, so check them out.
I don't think I put them on Facebook. I think I only put it on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I haven't been putting as much stuff on Facebook as for my pickups or my beats. But yeah, I should get back to that. But yeah, definitely check it out. Some really cool stuff, and even more is coming out. Can't believe it.
Well, I mean, there's things coming out. I think it's like ports and remasters. But the big things that really jump out to me, of course, the game I'm super excited about, Shantae and the Seven Sirens, comes out on the 28th. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping for the best. I got some concerns about the game. We shall see. And then there's a couple pretty cool collections coming to the Switch. They get the Borderlands Legendary Collection, which is all the Borderlands games on one package. Like that's insane. Crazy.
Yeah. There's
why just the Switch? Why not everybody else?
Yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous now.
Switch also getting the BioShock collection, which is interesting. Comes to BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite, all 3 amazing games.
That they are. I'll stick with what I've got.
Yeah, that's already because they already had the
2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm happy that.
Yeah, they got XCOM 2 coming out. They got the remaster Xenoblade Chronicles, which
you're picking up.
Yeah, and I've been seeing a lot of mixed reactions from fans of the series. Some of them are looking forward to the changes because they're basically updated the visual style, and some people don't like the more kind of like anime style compared to what it originally looked like. It was a little bit like more muted, I guess, a little bit more toned down.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's interesting. Then
I'm excited for that new Paper Mario, but that's still a ways off.
Yeah. Oh, Phantasy Star Online 2 is getting a Windows release, which a lot of people I've seen a lot of people really excited about that. Phantasy Star 2, of course, Phantasy Star 1 and 2 were Dreamcast MMOs.
They're also GameCube and Xbox 360 and I think original Xbox.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know a ton. Or maybe
I've got.
Oh, I guess I was wrong. I thought Phantasy Star Online 2 was a Dreamcast game, but just the first one was. 2 was more current gen. Vita, Switch.
No, 2 is a brand new game that just came out. I think
in North America.
I don't know, Phantasy Star. It was like
Phantasy Star Online 2 had a Japanese release since 2012.
Yeah, this is a brand new. Yeah, it's that game. Yeah, but they finally made it North American.
And it looks pretty neat. I have to talk to one of my friends. He's a big MMO guy. Not sure if he's checking that out, but because he usually plays like every MMO that comes out.
A couple people I know have been playing it, so it looks cool. But I don't have time to get lost in a regular RPG, let alone and
yeah. So that's mainly that's what's coming out the next couple weeks. Then just as a refresher for Cartridge Club stuff, of course, Cartridge Club is a game of the month, much like a book of the month, kind of focused around the podcast. You can join their Discord. They have forums or just people on Twitter and Facebook. You can just chat and talk about the games of the month and get involved with the other creators. It's a lot of fun. Really, really encourage everybody to get involved.
Members in the Cartridge Club is a bunch of other podcasts you should check out. So.
Yeah, for sure. So of course, May CC Prime game is Undertale, and then June is Gears of War.
Yes. And me and Church are playing 1, 2, 3 in Judgment. Stay tuned.
This guy.
And if you don't hear further news of this, make sure to berate my other half of the podcasting team here. He was just telling me how excited he was for this. So Let's see how this goes. It's going to be great.
We'll see. We'll see. Definitely see how it goes. Then we also have the cartridge called Portable, which is, as the name sounds, a portable game of the month. May Portable is covering Fire Emblem for the Game Boy Advance.
Hell yeah.
And I'm not actually sure what they're playing for June. The schedule has not been updated on the forum. I'm sure he said it on the podcast. I just can't remember.
They're probably like, fuck this whole idea. We all have to play the entire Gears series right now. So they're like, canceled for June. We're playing Gears also.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe.
Everyone's just so excited.
Yeah. Then we have the Quick Save Club, which is PC game focused game of the month. And for May and June, they're playing Terraria. And June, July will be Antichamber.
Sweet.
So it's a lot of fun. If anybody wants to get involved and just isn't sure what to do or how to go about it, hit me up. Hit me up on Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah,
I'll help you. I'll help you get in. It's fun.
There's nothing
to do anything
of you. You can just hang out.
Yeah.
You
just listen to the podcast.
You can just check it out.
Yeah.
If you see a game that you're interested in playing, you've been kind of waiting on it for a bit. And
there's
people
in the club that don't really do social media. They don't really do forums. Like they're out there. There's been minimal contact, but we know that they play along with games of the month. You don't have to do anything. It's just
another excuse to get a game out of your backlog and check it out.
Participate
I've had Undertale on my short list since you gave it to me like 2 years ago.
Well, a little while ago.
A little bit. It's been there. It's been in my like 5 games. My next games I'm playing and keeps getting bumped for whatever reason, and I finally played it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so then for what I plan on playing in the next couple weeks, of course, I'm going to keep working on Yakuza 0.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I will drop everything and play Shantae and the Seven Sirens, which I do intend to do a full video review on that because I did the rest of the series. So I got to do it for this one. So it's been a while since I did a game review, so kind of looking forward to doing
this one with that Gear series.
And I am kind of thinking maybe over the weekend or something, if I get a chunk of time, maybe try to knock out like Tetris Effect or something, like maybe play a little bit more VR.
Yeah.
I've been neglecting.
I got a bunch of sweet new VR stuff, so I need to definitely buckle down and do some more of that myself.
Yeah. So what are you playing next couple weeks?
I don't know. I really don't know. I got a
Legend of the Dragoon.
Legend of the Dragoon. Next week we can finally resume our episodes of the Super Enabler Bros. It's been a little bit of a hiatus as work has been kicking Chris's ass, so he's been having to get up earlier, so he hasn't felt really up to it. But he just asked me yesterday, we doing this next week or what? And I said, absolutely. So there'll be a new backlog roulette game to check out, I'm sure.
Nice.
But aside from that, yeah, probably getting in some VR. I got a lot of games in the last little while, especially today, that a lot of them are looking pretty cool to me. So probably some of that. You know me, I'm a wild card. I'm all over the place. I've never mentioned thinking of starting Aces of the Luftwaffe Squadron, but there it goes. Just out of nowhere. Start playing it. So something will just catch my eye one day, and that'll be it.
That works.
And I seem to go through a phase where I just trample a bunch of VR, or I do a bunch of light gun games, or a bunch of beat 'em ups, or a bunch of one system or another. Yeah, I like it.
Cool.
I don't know how people can be bored in quarantine.
True.
I don't know. I wish I could be in quarantine.
I don't get bored, but I do like get to the point where I like want to be able to like hang out with like friends or family.
Like on Xbox Live?
Like no one
series?
person.
I can arrange that. I don't want you only.
And I miss playing
my friend.
My D&D group. We have been playing an online version of D&D, which is actually working out pretty well on this website called Roll20, which I would recommend people to check out. But I would like to get back to doing our main D&D campaign.
Sweet.
So someday it'll be nice to resume that.
It'd be nice to go across the border and go see my chums.
Yeah, that's too.
But I don't want to be a sicky sick. So
yes.
I can wait.
Yeah, so then I think I'm gonna go ahead and let people know how they can get a hold of us if they should desire to do so. So of course the podcast is available on YouTube and SoundCloud. We're available on podcast apps, Podcast Addict, or whatever you use to listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts. Just look up the Game Tenants and you shall find us. And then I am available on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Look up the Game Grinder. You will find me there. And Jason is available on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as Corpse Flood Gaming.
Yeehaw. You bet.
Yes. So I think that is going to do it for this episode of the Game Tenants Podcast. As always, thank you very much for listening. We will talk to you next time.
Bye, everybody.